Hello and welcome to the Animal Enrichment Workshop. Today I'm going to be showing you how to build your own hidey hole puzzle feeder, explaining how it all works and how it could be the perfect addition to your enrichment library. So let's get into it. Alright, so starting us off, we need our initial log piece. So this is the main section of the piece, and then we've just got, some other little branches that we'll need to obtain later. But this is just straightening off the edges and making sure we've got a flat surface to work from, deciding which size I want to go for. 30 centimeters works for me in this case. Now with our smaller branch, we're going to cut them into little rounds because they're the little doors that are going to be in our hidey holes. So this isn't a necessary step, but otherwise I'm going to be drilling a pilot hole and then screwing a hook in, or a O-hook, because it's going to be a suspended piece. Now I've got my spade bits here, and on the main piece, drilling in a couple of centimeters worth, however far you want those little reservoirs to go back. So when the little animals push the doors open, you can have treats hiding a fair way in or just a little way in. It depends on you. So working your way around, do as many holes as you want, and you can haphazardly do them. You can do them with a structure, but otherwise did about 10. So then I get my wood rounds and I drill holes about as close as I can get to the edge of the little wood rounds there, as you can see. So I want them to be close to the top, but not so close that it cracks the wood when I'm doing the drilling and when I'm screwing them in. So doing as many of these as you need and making sure that these branch pieces are big enough to cover the holes, as you can see here. So I'm measuring it up, getting that hole so that when I drill my pilot hole, I'm drilling in and it's going into the main wood piece through that little hole. So big holes which enable the smaller little pilot hole to go through, and these screws, I want them to be small enough that they slide in, as you can see there, because we want these wood rounds to actually spin around. So as long as that little pilot hole has been drilled so it's got something to bite onto behind it, drilling it in just enough so that it holds, but it can still slip around and move around like so, as you can see. Obviously too tight and it's not going to work, and you want those wood rounds to be able to cover the hole so the animals can't see what's in. And that's basically it. Alrighty, and here we are back with the finished product. So I'm really excited to use this enrichment item because it's something that I've never built or used with any species before. So I was approached by the nocturnal house at my job, and they said, do you have any ideas for sugar gliders? So this is initially built with the idea that sugar gliders would be climbing up trees, looking for flowers and grubs and random pieces of food and whatnot in their natural environment in the wild. So that's where I got the idea to use this. It's very similar to other holey feeders I've made with holes and then little caps that have to be pulled off. But instead with this one, as they're positioned, it means that the gliders have to push past the little pieces of wood, which you might have already worked out. And then as they're getting the pieces of food, the doors close shut after every time they've gone to grab something. So it's all hidden, and the only way you're going to see the food is if you push it before it closes again. So if you don't get all the food, you have to continuously go to that one, and then there's 10 in total on this. So obviously you can make it bigger or smaller depending on the species you're wanting to use it for. After I've created it and during the creation process, I've thought obviously small primates like common marmosets and stuff like that. And then in terms of birds, I'm loving the idea that I'm going to build one for Australian magpies and Australian ravens and stuff like that. Particularly a raven I used to work with. I think he's going to absolutely love this because he is an exceptionally clever animal, and I love the idea that he's going to have to really forage, and this is going to take him a bit of time to get all of the pieces of food that could be hidden. And then if the food's just in there to start with, gives him an idea of how to work it out, you can then make little parcels of newspaper, corn husk around that food and put it in there. So he has to get the parcel out, then open that up, and you can increase the difficulty that way. So I have, in this case, put a little hook on top. So this is going to be suspended from the roof with chain or rope or whatever the nocturnal house are going to want to use that for. But if I was using it for a ground dwelling species, or I wanted to put it on the ground, if I was using it for my raven as an example, I'm going to build a base with 2 slats of wood or a couple of slats of wood together, so it forms a strong base. It's not going to tip over without the hook, so then he can jump around and try and get the pieces out. Based on the size, I might have to, if you are using it for birds, you might want to put in little perches off to the side, drilling little bits of dowel into that piece and then a perch and sticking it in just so the animals have got climbing holds to grab onto. In the case of the sugar gliders, I think they're going to be easily able to climb up this pit log. Otherwise, they will be able to jump on these, which will work pretty good. But otherwise, I'm really excited and happy, as I've already said. It is a new enrichment item for me. Hopefully I've got some video after this explanation of species I've used it with. Otherwise, try it out at your facilities. You might already have stuff designed like this in use, and it'd be fantastic to see it in use with a range of different species and seeing how successful it can be. But as always, thank you very much for watching. It's much appreciated. Happy enriching, and until next time, goodbye.